Welcome to Emergency Management Associates with Ron Tyler. Ron has been a first responder and in the preparedness arena for years. Since the early 1980s, Ron Tyler has been working to make sure people are prepared for whatever comes their way. He assisted his parents doing survival dinners where they went to church. He has lived in earthquake country, where quite a few large earthquakes hit San Diego and the state of California. Ron Tyler started Emergency Management Associates as a way to prepare people for coming emergencies and disasters. He was a first responder and responded to areas to help serve, rescue, and train people. Ron has set up emergency command posts during fire seasons in the mountains of Southern California and in Colorado. Having been a volunteer fireman and then a police officer, Ron knows what needs to be done and has done it. Ron and his crews have saved many people's lives. Ron has spoken to hundreds of community groups, helped organize preparedness fairs where he has lived. Through his travels, Ron has met hundreds of people and is valued in those communities and continues to work and lecture people on the complex work of emergency/disaster preparedness and emergency management. Ron has spent 24 years in law enforcement and has an extensive background in law enforcement and tactics. Ron's career was spent in homicide, traffic accident investigation, weapons and tactics, and personal/executive protection and emergency management. Ron Tyler has been a missionary for his church and is now a gospel doctrine instructor. With these items safely tucked away, you and your family will have an advantage should an emergency or disaster strike. Water, enough for at least 3 days. Food, ready-to-eat canned food, granola bars, dried fruit, peanut butter. Flashlight, with extra batteries. All essential medications and prescriptions. Medical equipment for conditions, extra pair of eyeglasses, extra batteries for hearing aid, etc. First aid kit. Personal care supplies. Emergency contact information. Copies of important documents, photo ID, medical insurance cards, medication lists, insurance policies. Records of personal property and insurance policies. Masks. Change of clothing, jacket, gloves, hat. Blankets. Remember to subscribe, like, share with your family and friends, and thank you for watching. Mail, rltnspdema@gmail.com, and our address is 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina 28655.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We want to welcome you to our program. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We're going to start off this program as we have in the past with the singing of the United States National Anthem. I would ask everyone right now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, yeah!
What a day. What a beautiful rendition of the United States national anthem. These men are from the Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. I want to thank them. I want to thank all of our military armed forces, wherever they might be. I want to thank our allied armed forces as well, the countries that help us protect the world. I want to thank all their military members as well. God bless them all, that they might all return home to their families after their tours of duty end. We love and express our appreciation for each and every one of them. Thank you for your service, men and women. We love you very, very much. Thank you. Now, folks, we have some housekeeping I want to do before we get started with anything else. YouTube has still been unsubscribing people, and YouTube is suppressing our program. They keep unsubscribing people from our program, and they also suppress our numbers. They suppress the number of people that are watching our program. They don't want anybody to succeed here on YouTube. They continue to suppress what we're doing here. And that's a crying shame. That's a real crying shame. Folks, I have spent 5.5 years here on YouTube trying to do my job, helping you folks have the information you need so you can prepare for emergencies and disasters in your own lives, in your own areas. I promise you, I take an oath to you that I will continue giving you this information. But folks, please check and make sure your subscriptions to this program are still valid. Check and make sure you're still subscribed to this program. If you're not subscribed, please resubscribe immediately. And when you do that, there's a little bell icon right next to the subscription button. Click on that little bell icon. That will give you a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. But again, YouTube could give a hoot and holler about us. They don't always notify people when we're coming on the air. I'm telling you now, as I've said before, we come on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time every day, Monday through Friday. Sometimes we try to get on the air right after 6 o'clock, which is what I tried to do tonight. And again, we had our issues. But we're here. We're here to give you all the information we can find about what is going on in your neck of the woods, and in mine as well. Now, folks, that is a lot to take care of. Granted, that is a lot to take care of, but we are up to the mission. We're always going to do what we can to help each and every one of you. I promise you that. That's been our mission since day one on the air 5.5 years ago. We appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. Now, first off, yesterday, the time before last when we were here, gosh, boy, did I screw that up. The last time we were here yesterday, we talked about a fire in Ventura County. The fire is still moving. I want you to have the latest information. This comes from CAL FIRE, which is the former California Department of Forestry. This man is a captain. He's in charge of information management for CAL FIRE. Please listen to his message here. It's very important.
And so we are still at zero containment as we're still focusing on life safety and structure defense. Also want to touch a little bit upon the number of homes that are destroyed and damaged. We are currently in the process of deploying 10 damage assessment teams that are going to go through every street and every property and do an analysis on every outbuilding and every home and give us a report back on that. That is going to take some time. We want to do it right the first time and make notifications to the property owners that their property has been damaged or destroyed. So please hang with us as we are challenged with the time it takes to go door to door with 10 teams. We're going to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. With that, we're going to go through an operational briefing. We're then going to get a weather update. We're then going to listen to some information on fire behavior. We'll talk to the sheriff, and then with our IC, and then finishing up with our fire chief, and then we'll open up to questions. And with that, we'll go with operations.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Trevor Johnson, captain with the Ventura County Fire Department and one of the operations section chiefs here on the mountain incident. As you all are well aware, at 9 o'clock approximately yesterday morning, resources responded to a wildland fire that is now the mountain incident. That was north of Highway 118 due to the Santa Ana wind event impacting Southern California currently. The fire grew rapidly to that number that our PIO just spoke about, over 14,000 acres now on the landscape. Firefighters, again, were initially engaged in structure defense, life safety operations, and performing nothing short of heroic actions across the incident. Fire continued to progress to the southwest throughout yesterday and into last night. Again, we had resources engaged throughout the evening. Last night, we had water dropping helicopters over the fire the entire evening, which is irregular for any type of wildland incident, but we were able to capture that. Resources are actively engaged around the incident at this current time. Due to the influx of resources into the incident, we built a more robust incident management structure out there operationally. Resources are engaged, engines, crews, dozers. We currently have aerial supervision over the fire using rotor wing and assessing for fixed wing operations to slow the spread of the fire. Crews are reevaluating and going back through areas where the fire's already passed and making sure that we've done a good assessment and we're checking on everybody, and we're going to have an active presence in there for days to come. Our priority right now on the fire is the northeast corner of the fire. Due to the alignment with slope, topography, and other factors that influence fire behavior, fire is continuing to back to the east or progress along the Highway 118 corridor back towards the city of Moore Park, again north of Highway 118. Fixed wing resources, adequate overhead, hot shot crews, hand crews, bulldozers, everything's currently engaged in there. We got more resources incoming, so we'll look to institute them into our plan. Again, we got the right people in the right places. We believe we've ordered appropriately and are managing every aspect of this incident operationally, coordinating with all of our stakeholders due to the damages to structures, residences, infrastructure, power, electrical, you name it. Firefighters are dealing it with out there on the ground. With that, that concludes the operational update. Thank you.
Good morning. Rich Thompson, meteorologist with the National Weather Service office out of Los Angeles, Oxnard. Weather-wise, when this fire broke out yesterday morning, the area was under what was called a particularly dangerous situation red flag warning, or a PDS red flag warning, which for us in the National Weather Service means a very extreme red flag condition with really, really strong winds, very low RH, and very critical fuels. So when this fire broke out, we were under a PDS red flag warning. Now, by this morning, those conditions have moderated a little bit, so now we just have a normal red flag warning in effect for the area, and that red flag warning is in effect for the fire until 6 o'clock this evening. That means we expect Santa Ana winds gusting from the northeast at about 25 to 35 miles per hour through the afternoon hours, along with humidity down to around 10 to 15%. Fortunately, by mid-late afternoon, we expect those Santa Ana winds to diminish in strength and actually maybe get a weak westerly wind moving across parts of the fire. So therefore, by 6 o'clock this evening, we expect those red flag conditions to end across the area. Hence, the red flag warning will be expiring at 6 o'clock this evening for this area of Ventura County. Then going into tonight and tomorrow, we expect tonight and tomorrow morning just a very, very light northeasterly wind across the fire with a kind of a weak westerly wind tomorrow afternoon, but the conditions staying still very dry. Humidity is generally probably 10 to 15, 20% range. But again, the red flag warning will be in effect for this area until 6 o'clock this evening. Then those Santa Ana winds will diminish in strength, and we'll just kind of have a typical weak offshore winds at night, weak sea breezes in the afternoon for the weekend.
Good morning, Drew Smith, Los Angeles County Fire Department, Fire Behavior Analyst. And I just wanted to compliment what Operations Section Chief has talked about and also our incident meteorologist on the why behind fire behavior and the environmental recipe that it's taken to cause this fire. So as we know that we're coming off of 2 years of above average rainfall, which gives us a very robust grass component, and with those fine fuels that are receptive to warm, dry, windy, supports the right recipe to promote large fire growth when we have high winds. So as the Weather Service with Rich talked about are red flag. Red flags mean that we have that warm, dry, windy, and we have a receptive fuel bed with spotting that gives us that exponential fire growth. So when we have those environmental recipe, if you will, to promote this, it's because of the receptive fuel bed, the ember cast that can transfer those embers up to 3 miles and give us that large fire growth. Complementing operations, and what does it mean on the landscape, is when you have high winds, it challenges our tactical opportunities to engage in fire. So when we have live fuel moistures through seasonal drying that are at 60%, which is critical, we have residency time of those fuels as they burn to get in that convective wind column, transport those embers downrange, makes it very challenging for our firefighters to combat these fires. These fires, when we're on our high-risk days with Santa Ana winds, are different from when we have our fires during the summer that are not in a wind-dominated fire environment. So that's what gives us this fire during the fall when we have red flags. Very challenging times for your firefighters for the life safety, the structured defense mission, and containing those fires across topography. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sheriff Jim Fryhoff. Thank you for being here today. First, I want to take a moment to share our thoughts and prayers for all of those in our community who have been impacted by these devastating fires, particularly those who have lost their homes. We know this is a painful time, and our hearts go out to each and every one of you. The fire danger remains extremely high. I want to remind everyone that we have several new evacuation zones that occurred overnight, specifically in the Santa Paula area. I strongly encourage you all to refer to VCEmergency.com for all the latest evacuation zones and road closures. In addition, you can call our incident information hotline at 805-465-6650 to speak with someone. This number is also on VCEmergency.com. As of today, we've made over 14,000 notifications to residents in the evacuation zones. We don't have an exact number of those that have been evacuated. We've received many questions about repopulation. We will repopulate as soon as possible. We have not begun that process yet. This is still a very active fire and very unpredictable, and we have a lot of resources out there working this fire, and we want to make sure they are safe as well as we're moving between the city on our main roads. For those who need shelter for large animals, the fairgrounds here are open for large animal shelters, and the Camarillo Animal Shelter by the airport is available for small animals. As our fire partners had mentioned, we're expecting high winds again next week. So it's critical that we all stay prepared for more fire weather. Once again, VC Emergency is your go-to resource to find out the information on closures or additional details related to the fire weather. Lastly, I want to say thank you. This is our community, our home. All the first responders who are working here live here and are responsible for this community as well. We want to assure everyone's safety. So please, stay out of the area if you do not need to be here. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for their cooperation. We're in this together, and we'll get through this together. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Jeff Shea, Division Chief, Ventura County Fire Department and Unified Incident Commander. To echo some of the thoughts and statements previously made, again, the value of our mutual aid system has been leveraged across all entities, whether it's fire suppression efforts, law enforcement, or other avenues of support. Again, our priorities continue to be life safety. Again, we encourage anyone who receives an evacuation order or warning to heed that immediately. Again, and then we'll continue with our priorities of property conservation, which is and ultimately fire suppression. So at this point, as has been stated, the fire is currently 0% contained. Our priorities are life safety and again infrastructure defense and ultimately fire suppression. So all those are currently going on, but with the weather conditions, with the red flag, we anticipate fire conditions to continue to intensify up to and until this weather pattern ceases. So thank you.
Are you on Medicare? If so, you'll want to hear this. Devoted Health's Medicare Advantage plan.
Good morning, everybody. Dustin Gardner, County Fire Chief. It's been a long 26 hours since this incident started, and it remains dynamic and it remains dangerous. And again, I'm going to reiterate a couple of the things that my partners have said up here. To our community members that have been impacted by this fire, our hearts do go out to you. You are our families, you are our communities, our firefighters, our first responders, myself, we live in these communities, and we do take this serious, and our hearts do go out to you, and we will do everything we can to get you back in as soon as we can and to get you assistance when you get back in. Up to and starting, the sheriff has disaster reconnaissance teams out, 10 of them, as he mentioned. That will speed things up. The fire department is putting community resource teams out to work with homeowners, to work with property owners who have lost property. All of our county agencies are already spooling up to make the process easier, faster, and streamlined for folks that have been impacted. So we're going to do everything we can to lessen those impacts, and our hearts do go out to you. Our mutual aid system, as mentioned, has been fully leveraged. To all of our community leaders out there, all of our city partners, all of our county partners and state partners, thank you. The mutual aid system from law enforcement, from fire suppression, from public works, from every angle has been leveraged to the tilt, and everybody is giving us assistance, and I want to say thank you for that. We briefed with Team 5 this morning. California Incident Management Team 5 is here. They are going to come into unified command with Ventura County Fire and Ventura County Sheriff, and you will see them out in the next briefing at noon. So they are here and ready. And one last thing, there were some stories and there was some coverage last night on water. And I just want to cover that our county OES team does a phenomenal job speaking with and coordinating with all of our water purveyors to make sure that they're ready, to make sure they know the event's coming, to make sure that they're prepared to help us when a fire starts. Our water resources were prepared, they were ready. We put hundreds of fire trucks on the system last night, hundreds of fire trucks pumping all night long. We have been fighting fire actively now for 26 hours, and we've had all of those fire trucks hooked up to all of those hydrants, and we drained water systems down. We did run out of water high up in the heights. It was reported last night, it was true. We still had water down low, and we were able to do water shuttles. It's a normal operation. Running out of water, I don't want to say it's abnormal, but it's normal enough. We planned for it. So it's impactful, but it will be mitigated. Our Sheriff OES team is committed to helping get it done and see it through. So all those impacts will be limited. So thank you again, and we're going to open up for questions.
Thank you, Chief. We are now going to transition to the question and answer portion of this press briefing. I asked that there will only be one question per reporter, as there's many are here, and so we can go quickly through the group. If you have additional questions or follow-up questions for the speaker, let's take them offline so we can get through the group. With that, we'll bring up operations for any questions for Cap Tyler. Trevor.
All right, Trevor Johnson here, operations on the mountain incident, ready to answer any questions from the group. Go ahead, sir.
Talk about, or someone else talked about high winds coming back next week. What do you want to let the community know about preparedness for that? Because you're still going to have to be dealing with this fire now. but then you're telling us next week you'll have a similar event as far as wind is concerned.
That's a great question. So what my friend here asked was, what are we expecting with the wind? We're expecting another Santa Ana style wind event early next week, and what that means for us across the incident and all the civilians and the population of Ventura County and our other cooperating partners here in SoCal. What it means is that we got to be prepared. You can see right now what's happening when fire gets established on our landscape, in our fuels, in and around structures with a high wind event. Our goal is to not only take care of all the community out here, but bring stabilization to this incident so that we can free up resources and be ready for the next fire. By no means are we're at full capacity staffing this incident, but if another incident were to arise, we're fully prepared to handle that incident as well. We're doing that with CAL FIRE, IMT5 coming in, our own operational resources, and we're preparing for that. But again, like the sheriff mentioned, please look at VC Emergency for all that information so we can keep you prepared.
The fire moving northeast, what communities are you most worried about and possibly eyeing evacuation at this point?
Okay, so the question was, what other areas are we concerned about impacting and future evacuations on the incident? So again, our priority on the fire right now is on the northeast side of the fire. That's north of the community of Somis and south of the community of Santa Paula on the Santa Susana mountain range there, South Mountain area if you're familiar. The fire there's in a tricky place. It's rugged, steep ground that only our finest firefighters can even access to work in there. So we've got aircraft working in there to pin it down. They're coming up with multiple options. We don't plan just for one option to work, so we identify a primary, alternate, a contingent operation in there. We're going to work as best as we can. What we're predicting, and based on what the IMET said there, the Santa Ana wind event is going to subside. And when that subsides, we typically get an onshore flow, which is more typical of our diurnal wind system, meaning our daily wind system, where we'll get a west wind across the fire. With that line being open in there and now introducing a west wind to the fire, it can blow back towards the east, if that makes sense, and if we were talking around a map. So we got warnings and orders in place. All of our resources are out there. They're forecasting ahead. But again, it's that fuel bed there in the Santa Susana mountain range in between highways 118 and 126, sir. Any further questions for operations? No idea on the cause of the fire. Again, we are fully committed to bringing resolve to the incident. That is a part of our incident management strategy, but that's under investigation currently.
Is it possible that the power lines were involved if there was a strike?
Okay, so the question was if power lines were a possible cause to start of the fire. Sir, I could tell you that there could be a million things that start a fire. I'm not an expert in that field. My expertise or profession is to put out the fire. So we're going after that. There's multiple things in the area. When a fire like that breaks, we don't initially go to what started this. Our job is to bring stabilization. So when we went immediately to work in that regard, we do have an investigation unit that's highly qualified within our agency, and they're working on those avenues, and that's something else we could address in a sidebar, sir.
Is the fire currently moving toward people, toward homes, or is it more in back country?
I would say, and the question was, where is the fire moving? Is it in the backcountry? Is it in populated areas? It's a mixture, sir, to tell you the truth. Where fire is primarily established is more backcountry, as you say, or ranch properties high up on the hill where there's potential infrastructures. It does have potential in certain areas to move off the slope into more populated areas, ranch-style communities, and different style lots in there of a decent size, if that makes sense.
Are we in a position now where there are tankers or gators and things like that?
Okay, and the question was, with the wind subsiding, our effectiveness with air tankers and retardant operations across the fire, and the answer to that is absolutely. We currently have aerial supervision over the fire. They work directly in coordination with operations. So the field operations out there right now is in direct communication. They're assessing for any opportunity when feasible and the conditions allow for pilot safety, ground resource safety. Retardant is very effective in this fuel bed when we can get it in there. So they're making every available effort, and I would advise you that I would expect that conditions to improve with that wind subsiding and us have a better possibility of getting retardant in there, sir.
Do you know
The question was, do I know how many houses were lost? Again, as our PIO, Andy Van Skyver, alluded to, we currently have 10 damage inspection teams out over the fire. And to that point, it's a delicate process. We got to be in there. We got to be thorough. We got to check everything. There's in these communities, there's residences everywhere. There's flag lots. We don't want to miss anything. The fire did run through a heavily populated area, and we want to make sure that we're thorough in there. I don't have any ballpark or any type of estimates for you on that, but that'll be forthcoming in the coming days, sir. Any further questions for operations? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Captain. I want to clarify one thing. There was an acronym that was brought up called IMET, and that's actually our next speaker, and it's our incident meteorologist. For questions for him.
All right, good morning again. Rich Thompson with the National Weather Service. Any questions? Yes, sir. The question is what the forecast is for this weekend. Well, again, as I said, the Santa Ana winds will subside later today, then going tonight and through the weekend, just kind of a typical late fall sort of condition here across Southern California, kind of light northeast winds at night, weak onshore winds, sea breezes in the afternoon, temperatures remaining very seasonal this time of year, probably lower mid-70s, humidities, still generally probably in the teens and 20s for the most part for minimum. So overall, just very typical conditions we expect in this area for this time of year. This weekend, after today, there are no high winds expected through the weekend here across the area. Now, beginning early next week, there is potential for another round of some gusty north to northeast winds. Right now, the strength of those winds and the timing of those are very low confidence at this point, so really no firm details about that, but the potential is there and something we are watching both here, me personally as the IMET, and also at the office local here in Oxnard. There is maybe a slight chance of some light rain Monday, Tuesday time frame, but nothing of significance. Maybe a couple hundredths of an inch at best. So just enough to be kind of a gloomy sort of day, but nothing in terms of any significant rainfall.
Is there any sort of information about whether this is unusual?
This particular Santa Ana's this time of year are very typical for Southern California. All the firefighters who can speak to this, September through November, December, we expect to have periods of Santa Ana winds. The strength of those do vary from year to year, season to season. This particular event here was a very strong one yesterday with gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour and so forth. But yeah, this is nothing unusual this time of year. Any other questions?
All right. Next question and answer speaker will be our fire behavioralist, Assistant Chief Smith.
Once again, Drew Smith, Los Angeles County Fire Department and Fire Behavior Analyst. Any questions?
All right, we have been listening to a news conference from the Ventura County Fire Department as well as meteorologists, and we are learning that 14,500 acres have burned with 0% containment. They do have 10 damage assessment teams heading out to find out how many homes were damaged or destroyed. They talked again about just how dangerous those winds were yesterday, the extreme red flag warning when the fire broke out. Conditions are better, but still a red flag warning until 6 p.m. this evening. And there are new evacuation zones in the Santa Paula area. The biggest concern that they are dealing with right now is right between Somis and Santa Paula. It's a little pocket there near South Mountain. And of course, as long as the winds stay the way they are, this is where their main focus is. But we all know how winds can change. And so, of course, we will continue to monitor this and bring you updates throughout the morning.
That was the update from KCAL Channel 7 in Los Angeles. They're the CBS affiliate in Los Angeles. I have a lot of friends that work for KCAL. That's why I went to that particular program there. And that this particular incident there at KCAL was a news conference from the fire departments. It offered the most information that we could find. However, I have one more here for you. Okay? This comes also from ABC 7. Okay, the other one I believe was Channel 8 in Los Angeles. This is Channel 7 ABC in LA. Sorry guys, I don't know why that happened here. Just a second, let me check something here. Here we go.
Mountain fire roaring in Ventura County spread overnight into Santa Paula. Firefighters working through the night have not been able to contain these flames at all. That fire has burned more than 14,000 acres. It's destroyed several homes and is now threatening 3,500 structures.
Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel live in Camarillo Heights with an update for us. Jaysha.
John and Rachel, we're in Camarillo Heights, and in this neighborhood, we've seen so many pictures and videos of homes that are burned down. This is what we're seeing this morning. Just to give you an idea, I mean, cars completely burned, homes torched down to the ground, and off into the distance, you can see some flames over there. It seems like a gas line was severed. The gas company is here trying to take care of that right now, but that's kind of the sight that we're seeing here this morning, and when the sun comes up, you'll be able to see the devastation. I mean, some homes are completely fine while others are burned to the ground completely. The mountain fire is at 0% containment. More than 14,000 acres have burned and thousands of people are under evacuation orders. Let's take a look at some new video that we have. It shows the hills completely on fire overnight, and you can see trees engulfed in flames as the fire continues to burn. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom's office says the fire has forced the evacuation of more than 10,000 people and threatened 3,500 homes, structures, and businesses. Firefighting operations continue through the night with both ground resources and night-flying helicopters. This fire broke out near Balcom Canyon Road and Bradley Road around 9:30 in the morning yesterday, and it quickly spread crossing Highway 118. Dozens of homes have burned here in Ventura County. The cause of the fire under investigation, but Eyewitness News spoke with one homeowner. His name is Steve Taylor. He's owned his home for nearly 40 years, and it's now burned to the ground.
I was in Thousand Oaks, and I got a call from my son around 9:20 saying, "Dad, there's a fire in Moore Park," and I'm like, "Holy cow!" Knowing what's happened with the winds because they were howling, and then I got up on the roof, and the ladder's still right over there. I got up on the roof and started hosing down the roof, and then it just started coming, and they started evacuating us.
Out here, I mean, you could just smell the gas. The gas company is trying to figure out how to take this fire out. But this morning, we know that damage estimates will start today. We also know that there is a press conference happening at 10 a.m. So we're hoping to get more information about the progress that firefighters have made on this fire. So, of course, we'll continue to stay on top of this for you.
Hello, I'm Mark Brent.
Guys, these are the news stations that I wanted to give you because they had up-to-the-minute information. I honestly believe that some of these fires have been started by man. Okay? I fought fires. I was a fireman, volunteer fireman, before I was a cop. While a police officer, I established emergency communications command posts on the fire scenes throughout Southern California. I've been there, done that. I followed the investigators around because I myself was a police investigator. My partner was an investigator. He was great. In fact, he was probably even better than I was. But we did it. We saw it happen year after year after year. Some of these fires lasted up to and through Christmas. Some of these fires throughout San Diego and Los Angeles, Orange County area, up and through Ventura County, where we're seeing these fires. Sometimes these storms, these firestorms, last up through Christmas. Okay? It's unreal. I pray that's not going to happen this time. I'm praying it doesn't happen this time. Heidi Petrick, I'm sorry if YouTube removed one of your comments. YouTube used to remove a lot of comments. We've seen YouTube moderators, yes, moderators from YouTube, taking people's comments off if they don't like them. It's sad. Anyway, I've got some more information that I want to share with you in regards to the Ventura Mountain Fire. The initial location where the first officers that got there was at Balcom Canyon Road and Bradley Road, Somas, Ventura County, California. The fire began in Somas area, as the fire captain explained. The fire was driven by Santa Ana devil winds. Santa Ana winds coming in off the desert, sometimes as much as 65, 70 miles per hour. I've seen it. Sometimes when you have a fire hose in your hand and you have those devil winds blowing in off the desert against you, when you're in your turnout gear, that heavy duty coat, your hat and your pants and boots, it becomes very hard to stand because the wind is driving right against your body. It's hard to stand. The only thing that makes it better is the water coming out of the hose, because it pushes us back against the wind. It's sad. It's really sad. I've been there, done that. But again, the fire began in the Somas area and was driven by winds in the Camarillo Heights and the Camarillo Estates areas, where numerous homes were damaged or even destroyed. We have reports that probably about 6,000 homes have been destroyed. I hope that is wrong. Okay? Numerous homes have been damaged or destroyed. The fire remains active on the southeast portion of the fire. I should say the northeast end of the fire. The fire is moving down slope towards the Santa Clara River. Red flag conditions, meaning high winds and low humidity. Red flag conditions means high winds and low humidity. During red flag conditions, police officers, sheriff's deputies, and even fire department personnel, if they're not fighting a fire, are out patrolling in the outlying suburbs and even in the rural areas to make sure nobody's flicking cigarettes, nobody's parking their car along roadways where there's high grass or weeds, making sure that nobody's going to stop and start a fire. I personally have seen it happen. I have made arrests of people along roadways trying to start a fire during Santa Ana conditions. Another 4.0 earthquake in southern Mexico. Now, these winds and red flag conditions are going to go through tonight, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is approximately 2 hours from now. Hopefully the winds will die down. Okay? Then we'll get onshore conditions, meaning breezes off the ocean. The breezes off the ocean contain humidity. That will help the firefighters control the flames. These kinds of conditions will be prevalent through probably Tuesday of next week. After that, these devil winds will start coming off the desert again. It'll be a completely different story. Hopefully by Tuesday next week, the fire here will be put out. We hope. Okay? But the red flag conditions are going to be expected to continue through this evening and possibly even to tomorrow. Okay? Ground crews and helicopters and mutual aid resources from other counties and cities continue to actively work to protect lives and property. Last year when these kinds of things were happening, and the year previous to that, we had people in Southern California, from Utah, we had people from Arizona there in Southern California, we had people from North Carolina there. It's incredible that fire departments want to send their equipment and hand crews and fire crews over there to fight these fires. We bless those people. God bless all of our firefighters, no matter where they are, coming to help our brethren in Southern California.
Magnitude 4.3, 40 minutes ago.
Over in the Caribbean Sea. In the Caribbean Sea, another light 4.0 earthquake. Unreal. Now, all evacuation orders that we talked about last night, all the evacuation orders and warnings still remain in place due to the extreme fire danger. Heidi Patrick just gifted people here in our program 5 Emergency Management Associates memberships. Thank you, Heidi. Your quantum reality Stacy Michaels, Paul McLennan, Gretchen Beach, and Tamara Allison were gifted memberships to our program here. 1 month memberships. We appreciate that ever so much. Everybody tell Heidi thank you for that. Heidi's done this several times before, and we want to thank her for it. Heidi's been a member of our program and a friend of mine for a long time. Anyway, getting back to the fire. Residents in this area are still strongly encouraged to heed all the evacuation orders and all the warnings. Again, I want to strongly encourage you. If you live in this area, whether or not you are in a warning area or getting ordered to leave, it's best to get all your things ready to go and not be forced out when the fire is so close. It's best to get all your belongings, your emergency preparedness plan, get your preparedness kits and everything ready in your car and leave before the situation gets very bad. If you're forced to get out, then you start to leave things behind. You start to forget where you're at, what you're doing. Please don't do that. Get everything ready and get out while the getting's good before you're being forced out. When you're being forced out, you might be driving down the middle of a road with flames on both sides of you. We've seen this happen in the Paradise Fire. We've seen it happen all throughout the United States. Please, guys, please heed the warnings. Please heed the orders and evacuation orders that you're going to be given. Please don't just discount the authorities because they're in your area. Heed their warnings. Road closures, northbound Lewis Road at Las Posas. Eastbound Highway 118 at Wells Road. Westbound Highway 118 at Tierra Rajada Road, Stockton Road area. Between Waters and Balcom Canyon Federal Assistance and Balcom Canyon. Federal assistance comes from the federal government because Governor Gavin Newsom has, and I'm going to call him Newsom because I have no respect for the man. Governor Newsom asked President Biden for federal assistance, and that federal approval has come through. And so California, here in Southern California, they're eligible for FEMA aid, Federal Emergency Management Assistance. Okay? Now, we all know what our Vice President Kamala Harris said when she was over here towards Southern Carolina and North Carolina. She says there was no more money. Well, I want to correct her. Speaker Johnson from the House of Representatives told me personally that he was appropriating $30 billion for FEMA aid. And now the House has come back in session and they are addressing more aid for FEMA. So aid will be given to the people in Southern California, and we hope it's more than $750 as they have given out to Hawaii over in Maui and to the assistance of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Hopefully it's a lot more than that. This will help ensure availability of vital resources to Ventura County. Now, I want to make sure you understand this. Okay? Please understand what we're talking about here. As Don Patoka is saying here in the chat, when you're forced out, you may be too damn late to do anything. And as a result, you may even leave fried chicken on the stove and the stove's still on. You may burn down your own home. You may not even remember to take food with you in your car as you're evacuating. You may not even think about taking any extra clothes or anything else with you. Sometimes people have left behind their animals. Don't you ever let me find you leaving your animals to fend for themselves during a disaster. I personally will make sure my big size 12 boot sits in somebody's body. I don't want to see any animals left behind. The fire people and the sheriff said the fairgrounds in Ventura County and various other areas have been made available for animals, and shelters are also available. Human shelters are also requested to take animals. So please don't leave your animals behind. Okay? Yes, I'm kind of very, very saddened when I say I have to leave my 12-foot or size 12 boot upside somebody's body. I've seen this happen, and I get very pissed off when I see an animal left to die, or I see animals that have been left treading water after a hurricane, or animals that have burned up because their owners have been too damn stupid to take them with them. Several years ago, I had a woman tell me there's no way in hell that she was going to take her cats and dogs, that her children were more important. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you take your children, you better as well take your animals as well. If you have your children, there's plenty of space for those animals in your car with you. Don't ever let me take my boot off to kick your butt. That's how mad I get. Okay? Now, California secures federal assistance in support of the mountain fire there in Ventura. An immediate threat to life. Evacuation orders are an immediate threat to life. This is an order by law enforcement to leave immediately. The area is lawfully closed to public access. Evacuation orders are in effect. Zone 1 north of Somas. Areas north of East Los Angeles. East Los Angeles Avenue. Highway 118. West of Balkan Canyon Road. And east of La Vista. Zone 2. Satacoy Country Club. East of Los Angeles Avenue. And Highway 118. And south of the Santa Clara River, north of Beardsley Road, Zone 3. Areas south of Highway 118, west of North Lewis Road, north of North Loop Drive and Mission Drive, and east of Fairway Drive, Zone 4. West Camarillo, Las Posas, Spanish Hills areas, north of Las Posas Road, south and east of Central Avenue and Beardsley Road, and west of Anacapa Drive, evacuation areas. Zone 6, the area extending south of the Santa Clara River, east of Los Angeles Avenue, north of Santa Coy County Club, or Country Club, and west of Briggs Road area. Zone 7, the area north of Highway 101 and south and east of Beardsley Avenue and south of Central Avenue. Zone 8, an area extending south of South Mountain Road, east of Briggs Road, and west of 12th Street and Bixby Road. Zone 9, the area east of Santa Paula Community Golf Course, north along Santa Clara River, west of South Mountain Road at Sespe Street. Sespe is S-E-S-P-E Street. South to Bixby Road, B-I-X-B-Y Road. Zone 10, an area extending east of 12th Street to Willard Road. South of Highway 126 along Santa Clara River. Zone 11, south of the Santa Clara River, north of the ridge bottom of South Mountain at the Rock Quarry, west of Grimes Canyon Road, east of San Cayetano, C-A-Y-E-T-A-N-O, west of Grimes Canyon Road, east of San Cayetano Street is that area. Zone 12, the area north of Los Angeles Avenue, west of Grimes Canyon Road, east of San Cayetano Street, south of the ridge bottom South Mountain at the Rock Quarry, and unincorporated Somas West to Satakoy Country Club, east of Balcom Canyon Road south to Highway 118. Residents are encouraged to register for emergency alerts at VC, Ventura County Alert, VC Alert, and monitor Ventura County Emergency, VC Emergency for current evacuation updates. Evacuation shelters. Padre Serra Parish, 5205 Upland Road, Camarillo, California. 5205 Upland Road, Camarillo, California 93012. Large Animal Evacuation Center. An evacuation center has been established for large animals at the Ventura County Fairgrounds. Ventura County Fairgrounds are located at 10 East Harbor Boulevard in Ventura, California. The zip code is 93001. Small Animal Evacuation Center has been established at Ventura County Animal Services, Camarillo Airport. Ventura County Animal Services, Camarillo Airport. 600 Aviation Drive, Camarillo, California, 93010. Now, there is live video of that area available at ops.alertcalifornia.org. ops.alertcalifornia.org/CAM, C-A-M, hyphen, CONSOLE, / Axis, AXIS, hyphen, Butler Hill 2, BUTLEHILL, the number 2. You can see live video of the area in case you're interested in it. Now, I've given you everything in regards to the fires in Southern California. Does anybody have any questions about anything we said so far? Diane Kellman said, some people, she knows, she's seen her neighbors throw ashes over a fence and started a fire. I've seen that very thing as well. Dustin K is here. I want to thank Dustin for being here today. He just gave us a $10 super chat. Dustin, I'm giving you an Emergency Management Associate sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that. We appreciate any and all super chats that you can give us. Your super chats and your donations to our PayPal, and also your donations through the U.S. mail to our post office box, which you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Those donations are very much accepted and very much appreciated. It helps keep these programs on the air. Thank you so much for your help, guys. We love you for it. Now, I want to talk about Hurricane Rafael. Hurricane Rafael. This is a live stream live video I took from the National Hurricane Center at 4 p.m. today. Please watch this in regards to Hurricane Rafael.
Hi everyone, this is Mike Brennan here at the National Hurricane Center. It's around 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, November 7th, coming on with the latest this afternoon on Hurricane Rafael, moving to the west-northwest across the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. System actually looking a little better on satellite imagery this afternoon. Maximum sustained winds now around 105 miles per hour, so Category 2 hurricane, centered about 325 miles to the northeast of Progreso in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, moving west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Again, as Rafael Rafael's pulling away from Cuba and the Florida Keys. Conditions are improving there. Still a few showers and a few gusty winds across portions of western Cuba and through portions of especially the lower Keys out towards the dry Tortugas. But you can just see the outer rain bands of Rafael still visible on the radar here from Key West, but the core of the hurricane now too far away to see the eye on radar imagery. In terms of the forecast, not a lot of change. We're expecting a general westward motion for the next couple of days that's going to take the center of Rafael across the south central Gulf of Mexico. Then we're expecting a slow motion as we go through from Saturday into Sunday, and then more of a southwestward motion that will take Rafael towards the southwestern Gulf of Mexico as we go into Monday and Tuesday of next week. Still a little bit of uncertainty in the eventual track evolution of Rafael across the central and southwestern Gulf of Mexico, but interest in the southwestern Gulf should continue to monitor the progress of Rafael through the weekend and into early next week. Not expecting any direct impacts from Rafael along the U.S. Gulf Coast at this point, other than the risk of dangerous surf and rip currents. This is the rip current risk forecast for tomorrow, Friday. Everywhere you see in red, including much of the west coast of Florida, the Florida Panhandle, the Alabama coast, the middle and lower Texas coast have a high risk of rip currents. There will be dangerous surf and rip currents spreading westward across much of the Gulf Coast as we go through the next day or two and into the weekend. So please heed those red warning flags and don't go into the water if the surf conditions appear unsafe. And please only try to go into the water where there are lifeguards present. Just to wrap up now on the key messages for Rafael on this Thursday afternoon. Again, swells generated by Rafael likely to cause dangerous surf and rip current conditions across much of the Gulf Coast for the next few days. And Rafael's forecast to move slowly over the south central Gulf of Mexico this weekend and early next week, eventually weakening from a hurricane down to a tropical storm by the time we get to this weekend. But interest in the southern and southwestern Gulf of Mexico should monitor the progress of the system. You can always come back here to hurricanes.gov for the latest on Rafael throughout the next several days. And in the United States, you can get more information on your local weather at your local National Weather Service office at weather.gov. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Brennan at the National Hurricane Center.
Okay, that was from the National Hurricane Center. That's the best up-to-date information we have. With that said, we may also have that hurricane to blow north. That hurricane could go north into parts of Texas and Louisiana. That was the other issue that we had yesterday when we saw the information come across the wire service. Okay? I think I have a screenshot of that. Give me a second to see if I can find that real quick. This is it right here. Okay? One of the spaghetti models that we've talked about before, okay, could take this hurricane directly into eastern Texas, over into Arkansas and Louisiana area, and into Mississippi. Okay? Right now it doesn't show it going there right now, but it can change. We've seen this happen before with weather manipulation. The hurricane can change directions and go directly into the United States like we see here. Do we have any questions so far? Okay. This started way down in the Gulf, or actually in the Caribbean. It's worked its way past Cuba, and right now it's in central Gulf of Mexico. But again, the National Weather Service has this thing going into Mexico, central Mexico. But it can change. I want everybody to be very much aware of what's going on. Okay? I want everybody to be aware of what's going on here. Okay? Demon Catman, thank you for putting up our address. It's going across the bottom of your screen here as well. But I want to make sure we have this information out for you as well. Okay? We have our email address scrolling across the bottom of your screen, as well as our post office box. 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. My wife and I would love to see letters and cards from all of you. By the way, okay, My wife's birthday is the 13th. I know she would love to see birthday cards, guys. So please help her. Yes, mine is the 11th, but hers is the 13th. Okay? Thank you for that. Anyway, let's continue here. Does anybody have any questions about the fire in Southern California or the hurricane out in the Gulf of Mexico? Okay? Current models project the storm tracking towards southern Mexico. But one spaghetti model has it tracking toward Louisiana, with heavy rainfall anticipated across neighboring states, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Okay? That could happen as early as late Saturday. It could happen as early as late Saturday. Tropical storm conditions in the lower and middle Florida Keys are still prevalent with storm surge. We're also seeing storm conditions along the coastline with storm surge and very, very bad ocean conditions leading to rip currents. Please stay out of the water. If you're over near Galveston, over near Corpus Christi, stay out of the water. Stay out of the water. Elsewhere in the tropics, the National Hurricane Center is tracking a disturbance in the southwestern Atlantic with a very low chance of development. Forecasters said it could become a tropical depression or a storm this week. The next named storm of the season will be Sarah. The disturbance comes as Tropical Storm Patty has moved toward the Azores, the North Atlantic. Now, I was not able to bring up one of my go-to sites called windy.com. If you go over to windy.com, you can see Tropical Storm Patty off the coast of the Azores in the North Mid-Atlantic. It's blowing. There's a lot of wind out there. There's a lot of heavy rain in the Azores area. But the storm is expected to dissipate away from the land. Portions of Portugal and Spain can expect heavy rainfall from late today through Tuesday. And actually this is late Monday into Tuesday, and the storm conditions are now dissipating and will further dissipate into tomorrow, Friday. Okay? That's what we're seeing. There's also a low pressure system just to the north of the Leeward Islands that could develop in the next few days. We're going to watch that as well. Catherine Sigerson says that she's seen some buffering. That's the last thing I would want to have happen. If you're having buffering, guys, please get out of our program and come right back. Leave our program and come right back. That's the way you solve that problem. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to see that happen. But YouTube doesn't like us. They keep unsubscribing people. So, folks, check your subscriptions. Check your subscriptions to this program. If you've been unsubscribed, please resubscribe. If you're not subscribed to this program, because 21% of the people watching this program are not subscribed, please do so. That's very important that you watch this program and you are subscribed to this program. Please do that. 2.5 weeks ago, we had nearly 5,700 subscribers. Now we have 5,664. That's how many people have been unsubscribed from this program. And I know for a fact it's not all of you that have unsubscribed, because we know what YouTube does. YouTube doesn't like me. I don't really care. I just don't care. So anyway, again, the National Hurricane Center has issued advisories on Hurricane Rafael. Okay, right now it's located over the southeastern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, we've given you all that information. Now, earthquakes. Let's go over and look at earthquakes right now. All right. Take that down. Just turn on our USGS map. Take my mug off here. Let's talk about earthquakes. Okay? We have one earthquake in Ohio. See this earthquake right here in Ohio? This is just southeast of Georgetown, Ohio. About 3 miles southeast of Georgetown, Ohio. This is a minor earthquake, a 2.4 earthquake. Not a big deal. But again, this is over on the northeastern part of the New Madrid Fault. Northeastern end of the New Madrid Fault. Not surprising, is it? Not at all. Let's go over here to the Pacific Northwest. We have another earthquake over here in the Cascadia subduction zone. This is just west of the Cascadia subduction zone fault line. Okay? This is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. 2.6 minor earthquake, 127 kilometers west of Yachats, Oregon. West of Yachats, Yachats, Oregon. Okay? That's off the coast. Now this is such a minor earthquake, nobody felt this earthquake. Nobody would feel minor earthquakes. It's almost impossible. Except if you're very, very cognizant of shaking. Out here in the ocean waters absorb the shock waves of this quake. So nobody felt this quake at all. Let's go north here. Mount St. Helens. Good old Mount St. Helens. We have multiple earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. They're only showing minor tremors here and microquakes. This is a microquake that is 3 miles deep, 6.4 kilometers deep, 3 miles deep. This is a 0.4 tremor, or I shouldn't say tremor, 0.4 microquake. Now USGS says this is a minus number, it's not. This is 3 miles deep. Minus numbers indicate it's above sea level. This earthquake is not above sea level at all. Okay? It's over here in the summit of Mount St. Helens. This earthquake here is they say is a surface quake, a 0.0 earthquake. This is not a surface quake either. This is also 6.2 kilometers deep. Guess what? 3 miles deep again. Right next to it is a minus 0.3. Again, they're saying this is above sea level. It's not. This is, however, 1 mile or a half mile deep. A half mile deep down inside the volcano. Right here in the center of the summit here. Right below the summit. This is nearly 3/4 of a mile deep. This is a 0.3 microquake, and yet USGS has this as a earthquake above sea level. It's not. Okay? We go over here to the northwest rim of Mount St. Helens. This again is a minus 0.3 indicating it's above sea level. It's not. This is 3/4 of a mile deep inside the volcano. They say this is a 0.0 surface quake. I'm sorry, this is 1/3 of a mile deep. It's not a surface quake. It's down in the magma of this volcano. Down in the magma of this volcano. Right here, they're saying this is a minus 0.2, indicating it should be above sea level, right? Again, this is a half mile deep. Not above sea level. This is at the rim level. At the rim level. Supposedly a minus 0.4 microquake. Again, this is nearly 2 miles deep. This is just barely a mile deep here. Okay? Now these are only microquakes here. They're not even owning up that there are minor tremors, owning up there minor earthquakes, and even small earthquakes, 3.0 to 3.9 earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. There are. USGS would never admit to anything. The people at USGS, and I'm not talking about the everyday worker at USGS. I'm talking about management. I'm talking about management. The scientists are good people. The everyday worker at USGS are good people. It's the management team that sucks. They're lying to us again. They're lying to us through their teeth. Okay? One other earthquake here. This again, they have it as minus 0.2, but it's not. This is just barely less than a mile deep. Okay? Unreal. I'm not even going to tell you where USGS says these earthquakes are because it's not. They lie about the location, but you can see the location on the map. Okay, they lie about the location so people don't even realize what's going on. Northwest of Mount Rainier. This is a 1.6 tremor. This is 3 miles east-northeast of Capucin, Washington. 3 miles east-northeast of Capucin, Washington. Okay, it's a 1.6 tremor here. Now, they're not showing any other earthquakes here. Now, I've shown you earthquakes here before. Last week I showed you a bunch of seismographs, meaning the graphs that the computers print out, showing plenty of earthquakes up and down the coastline. Those earthquakes happen every day. USGS doesn't show them because they're too embarrassed to be truthful. Heaven forbid that the people learn what's exactly going on, because people would not stay in these areas. They would be leaving because they know for a fact what's going on. But United States Geological Survey wants to take no responsibility for anything. They just won't. They're not showing anything happen over in British Columbia, Canada, over in Vancouver Island area. Yet they could. They could. The Canadians do. There are plenty of earthquakes along Vancouver Island and out to sea off of Vancouver Island. Plenty of earthquakes. But again, the United States Geological Survey wants to take no responsibility at all. They just don't. For whatever reason, they don't. Now, I've talked to them. They won't even talk to me anymore. They want nothing to do with me anymore, which is sad. It's very sad. But it doesn't matter. I've gotten over dealing with their lies. Gotten over it. Let's go over here. Okay, this is a large earthquake. This large earthquake is just off the coast of southern Japan. Okay? Notice where it's located. It's along the earthquake fault just off the coast east of Japan. This is a 5.0 large earthquake. A 5.0 large earthquake. USGS is calling these minor earthquakes. Really? They're calling them moderate earthquakes. They're not. They used to call them large, but they've decided this year, we're going to call them moderate. And they're calling moderate earthquakes light earthquakes. Light earthquakes. They want to give everybody the sense that nothing's going on. This is a large 5.0 earthquake just south of Japan here. Okay? Now I'm going to zoom in here. Right here. This is the volcano. This is the volcano here. Folks, this volcano continues to erupt. Right now it's not erupting, but it does continue to erupt. This earthquake today is just southeast of that volcano. I wanted to make sure you're aware of that too. Okay? Let's go out here. Folks, this is over in the Volcano Islands. Okay? This earthquake happened at 4:43 p.m. this afternoon Eastern Time. Okay? Right here. This is a much larger 5.0 large earthquake. This happened at 12:38 noon Eastern Time. So this earthquake happened and the other moderate earthquake happened as an aftershock. Yesterday we had a 5.9 out here. Okay? So these earthquakes, both of these are aftershocks of those large earthquakes out here in the Volcano Islands yesterday. Okay? Now, they're not showing any earthquakes here in Europe or the Middle East. There are 400 earthquakes over here in the European theater and in the Middle East. Heaven forbid the USGS would admit to that. The USGS now says there are only 210 earthquakes worldwide. What a lie that is. What a lie that is. We go down here into the Indian Ocean. This is on the Antarctic Ridge. The Antarctic Ridge. This is a 5.5 on the mid-Indian Antarctic Ridge. A large 5.5 on the mid-Indian Antarctic Ridge. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Go over here to Papua New Guinea. We had an earthquake here yesterday. We had a couple earthquakes here yesterday. Folks, I'm going to zoom in here to give you an idea of what's going on here. Okay? This earthquake is a 4.5 earthquake. This is 131 miles deep. Okay? A 4.5 earthquake. Okay? This is 143 kilometers west-northwest of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. Let's zoom in here. This is out in the ocean area here. Okay? Nobody felt this quake. It's far enough offshore that nobody felt this quake, and the waters of the ocean absorb the shockwaves of this quake. However, this is a larger quake here. This is a 5.2 earthquake. This is 91 kilometers deep. Also far enough offshore, 135 kilometers west-northwest of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. The ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this large earthquake today. Fortunately, the people of the islands of Indonesia and Papua New Guinea are very, very poor people. Their homes are made of cardboard and wood. They don't have the building standards we have. Heaven forbid they have the homes like we have. Cardboard shacks covered with tarps, basically. I've seen the pictures. I showed some of the pictures to you about 2 or 3 months ago when a great big huge hurricane come through here and leveled the area. These poor people here. Again, this is a 5.2 large earthquake, and this is a 4.5 moderate earthquake over here in the ocean waters west of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. Okay? Also, you need to remember, this area is the largest subduction zone in the world. The subduction zone comes over here, runs over here to Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia. It includes Japan over here, all of Indonesia, all of Australia, all of New Zealand, and all the way over here into the islands of the Pacific. Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, New Zealand, Vanuatu, the Legacy Islands, and the Solomon Islands. The largest subduction zone in the world. 7 different tectonic plates, each plate subducting under the other in this region. That is why they have so many earthquakes. Now, USGS is not showing all the earthquakes here. Heaven forbid they show them to us. They're lying through their teeth. This earthquake is in the Kermadec Islands north of New Zealand, north of mainland New Zealand. The Kermadec Islands are a bird sanctuary. They're a bird sanctuary. There's no humans living on that island, or any of the islands here. Why? Because the islands are surrounded by volcanic rock beneath the waves, beneath the surface of the water. Any scientists that come over here to look at the birds have to come here during high tide. Otherwise, their boats are destroyed by the rocks beneath the water. Okay? So, folks, a 5.2 large earthquake happened in the Kermadec Islands here. We come over here to South America. This is south central Chile. A moderate 4.3 earthquake here, 67 kilometers deep. This is a 4.8. This 4.8 moderate earthquake hit in the area of San Pedro de Atacama, Chile. San Pedro de Atacama, Chile, the border of Chile and Argentina. A 4.8 earthquake here in the tops of the Andes Mountains. The tops of the Andes Mountains. To the north. Now, folks, there are a lot of earthquakes in this region here. Atacama, Chile, and Tarapacá, Chile. There are about 14 earthquakes here today, and USGS is negligent in not showing these earthquakes. They never do show them all. And even when there is a large earthquake, sometimes they don't even show the large earthquake here. I've caught them. Over here in southern Peru here, this is a 4.4 moderate earthquake here, 160 kilometers deep. Okay? 17 kilometers east-southeast. And actually it's not east-southeast, it's west-southwest. A Chuquitira, Peru. Chuquitira, Peru. Chuquitira, Peru. Southern Peru. Again, it's not quite in the tops of the Andes Mountains here in southern Peru, but it is over on the western side of the Andes Mountains. Okay? Further north here, this is over along the coastline, near the coastline of southern Peru. This is in the foothills of the Andes Mountains here. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. A large 5.0 earthquake. Now again, there are more earthquakes here in this area of Peru, going over into Colombia and going down here into Chile. A lot more earthquakes. Heaven forbid that USGS would tell us the truth. They don't ever tell us the truth about what's going on here. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Nicaragua. Okay? Over here in Guatemala, just off the coast of Guatemala. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. A moderate 4.3 earthquake here, 47 kilometers deep. They're not showing any earthquakes over here in southern Mexico. What a fallacy that is. What a lie that is. Unreal. These earthquakes work their way up into Southern California. Just for kicks and giggles. Let's go right up here. This is right off the coast of Baja California. This is just north of Ensenada. Just north of Ensenada here. This is a 2.3 earthquake here. A 2.3 earthquake here. We go further to the northeast. Ocotillo, California in Imperial Valley. This is the border region of the U.S. and Mexico. The border region of the U.S. and Mexico right here. This is a 1.6 tremor. Over here, this is in the eastern foothills of the Chocolate Mountains. The eastern foothills of the Chocolate Mountains. This is a 1.0 tremor. We go further over here into the Imperial Valley, just west, southwest of the Salton City. Salton City. Salton City is right up here. This, folks, is Salton City. It's basically a ghost town. It's basically a ghost town. Nobody lives here anymore. In the 1940s and 50s, this was teeming with celebrities. Wonderful mobile home parks, homes built here with boats here on the Salton Sea. Now it's abandoned. The Salton Sea has become polluted. Poisonous chemicals in the water. It stinks. Nobody lives here in this area near the Salton Sea here. But this is a 1.0 tremor southeast of Salton City. We go further north here, up to the top of the Chocolate Mountains. This is Borrego Springs, California. A 0.8 microquake here. Now right here we have a swarm of quakes here. This is part of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. Northeast San Diego County. I used to live in San Diego County, Escondido. This is about 45 minutes to an hour east of Escondido. 3.4 small earthquake here, Borrego Springs. This is a 2.4. This is 1.2 tremor here. This is 1.4 tremor. This is 1.5 here. Now we get to tremors and microquakes here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. This is a 1.0 tremor. This is a 0.8 microquake here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. This is a 0.8 microquake here. These are all in Borrego Springs, by the way. Just north of Borrego Springs. This also is a 0.8 microquake here. Folks, this area is about to pop. We have had 5.0 earthquakes right here. We may be seeing these swarms because when we see swarms, it's usually a sign that a larger earthquake is about to hit. That's why I'm showing you that right now. We go even further north. Again, this is Anza Borrego Desert State Park. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is a 1.3 tremor here. West over here, about 45 miles to the west, Palomar Observatory. Palomar Observatory. This is where that world-famous telescope is. I've been inside the observatory myself. They have a seismograph here, and that's why we're getting this reading from Palomar Observatory today. A 0.6 microquake here. Almost directly north. By the way, Palomar Observatory is right on top of the Elsinore Fault. Right on top of the Elsinore Fault. Almost directly north. This is Hemet, California. This is just west of the San Jacinto Fault. West of the San Jacinto Fault, here we have a 1.2 tremor here. Almost straight north from there. This is Beaumont, California with a 1.4 tremor. Guess what this is? This is on the San Andreas Fault. A 1.4 tremor on the San Andreas Fault. Furthermore, Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda, California, guys. That is a 1.1 tremor in Loma Linda, California. Now, USGS has taken over our map here. So I am going to leave the map here and we can talk about some other things that I prepared for you. Hey, I'm back. I'm back, guys. Anyway, I have a lot more things I need to talk about tonight. We need to talk about these things because these things can affect you as well. Okay? Now, the last 2 days, yesterday and today, have been a glorious day for liberal meltdowns. A glorious day for liberal meltdowns. Okay? The Liberal Party, the Democrat Communist Party, lost to President Trump. But Joe Biden has begun to surrender to President Trump. And in fact, President Trump has been talking to the president of Ukraine, and he's already starting to try to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, Ukraine probably will be able or made to concede to some things that Russia wants. But the war will be over. Now, because President Trump is negotiating with Ukraine, we probably will not send another dime to Ukraine. About once a month, President Trump has been sending, or not President Trump, I'm sorry, President Biden has been sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. That is going to stop. President Trump promised us months ago that he would end the Ukrainian-Russian war, either before he's put into the presidency or shortly after. He's already negotiating Ukraine for end of the war there. Okay? Now, President Trump is also doing some other things. He's also scaring a bunch of illegal aliens here in this country. A lot of illegals are also wondering exactly what President Trump is going to do. Because President Trump said that he was going to deport every one of those people that came from across the border. He was going to take the terrorists and send them back to where they came from. He was going to take those prisoners and those murderers and those criminals that have been sent to our country and deport them back to where they came from. Including Trende I can't pronounce that. Trende Argona. Not Argona. Trende Argona. He's going to send them packing, as well as MS-13 from Mexico and Central America. He's going to deport them faster than they've ever been run. We have reports out of California that the illegals that have been made sanctuary cities in San Diego, LA, and San Francisco, Santa Barbara, and other areas are worrying about what President Trump is going to do now. Some of them are even headed south of the border. They are not waiting to see what happens. They are not waiting to see what happens. President Trump has already said, if Mexico refuses to take them back, he will put tariffs on all products coming from Mexico. So they won't be able to sell anything into the United States. And that will stop that.
Location, Volcano Islands, Japan region. Class light, magnitude 4.6, 22 minutes ago.
Another 4.6 earthquake in the Volcano Islands. Interesting how that happens. Aftershocks of that bigger earthquake yesterday. Anyway, President Trump is already living up to the promises that he made to us. Now, something that you ought to know about. Okay? The DNC advisors, the Democrat National Committee advisors, are telling Sleepy Joe that he should resign the presidency and allow Kamala Harris to become the 47th president, the first woman president of the United States. Now, I don't think President Joe Biden is going to take the DNC up on it. But the DNC has always wanted to have a woman president. So far, they've gotten close with nothing more than a nominee, a woman nominee. Now, if Sleepy Joe does what the DNC wants them to do, he may resign the presidency and make Kamala Harris the president of the United States, making her the 47th president, which would be a slap of the face to President Trump. It would make President Trump a 48th president. Incredible. We should see what we see. But if that was the case, Kamala Harris would be in the presidency nearly 3 months. And she would literally ruin the United States of America. She would ruin the United States of America. She has no class. She doesn't have the smarts to run this country. She's proven it. She hasn't done a damn thing for this country. Not one little thing. Now there's something else with Kamala Harris. And this may keep her from being the president of the United States. Top advisors to Kamala Harris are asking, where is the money? Where's the beef? No, it's where's the money? There's $20 million missing. There's $20 million missing. Kamala Harris has put the DNC into debt. Harris advisors are already deleting their ex accounts, and they're not taking phone calls. Her advisors are already deleting their ex accounts and are not taking phone calls. Okay? This is a huge scandal. A huge scandal that they've tried to cover up. Had she won, the DNC would be $420 million in debt. Had Kamala Harris won, the DNC would be $420 million in debt. Where did Kamala go after she lost the vote for presidency? She went home and cried. She went home and cried. Now, I'm not beating her up. I'm not making fun of her for going home and crying. Women have feelings too. But her head is spinning. Does Kamala by chance have an idea where $20 million went? Her senior advisor, David Plouffe, P-L-O-F-F-E, has deleted his entire X account and has been refusing to take phone calls. Where does Harris go from here? They spent almost $1.6 billion on her to only lose. They spent $1.6 billion to have her lose. The DNC is most worried about Trump because he might be able to replace 2 more Supreme Court justices. Justice Samuel Alito and Justice Thomas may soon retire, leaving 2 empty seats on the court. The DNC was hoping that they could get They were hoping they could get 2 liberal justices on the court before they lost the presidency. Now it's not going to happen. President Trump is going to seat 2 more conservative justices on the Supreme Court, which will rule the court for another 20 to 30 years. Incredible. The DNC heads are spinning. The Democrat National Committee heads are spinning, literally spinning out of control. They're trying to figure a way to get Kamala Harris as president before she leaves completely. Whether she'll allow the Democrats to do that's unknown. But we've already seen her antics as a vice president where she hasn't done a thing. She didn't even visit the border until right before the election. And then she was there for 20 minutes and left. She didn't do a darn thing at the border. Even though Biden, 3.5 years ago, maybe almost 4 years ago, asked her to be the border czar, she hasn't done a damn thing since. Incredible. Not one darn thing has Kamala Harris done. Now, what do you think would happen if President Trump was allowed to put 2 more justices on the Supreme Court? How good would that be for the country? And how bad would that look for the Democrats? Ask some more questions you might ponder. How on earth did Trump win? How do you win Pennsylvania? How much did the Amish play as a role in his victory? We had conservative operatives going over to Amish territory out in the urban countryside there in Pennsylvania and asking them to vote for President Trump. Isn't that interesting? President Trump won the outlying rural areas of Pennsylvania. The cities, he won some votes, but the Democrats won the cities. The Republicans gave him the win in the rural areas of Pennsylvania. What few things does President Trump need to do to make good for us here, to make America great again? What things does he need to do to set up the next Republican nominee in 2028 so we can keep the White House for possibly another 12 years? 12 years from now. 4 years for President Trump and 8 more years for J.D. Vance. Unreal. And yes, it can happen. Tinny Pearl, thank you for that $100 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Tinny Pearl says, didn't make it to mail last week. I wanted to do my part. Give Carol hugs from all of us. Thank you all for all you do. Tinny Pearl, thank you so much. We appreciate that ever so much. God bless you for that. I just gave you an Emergency Management Associate sticker. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that. God bless you for that. God bless you for that. And Carol would still like even a card from you guys. It's her birthday on the 13th. Happy birthday to my wife early. I'm 2 days earlier than that. Anyway, let's keep going here. Let's keep going. I have a few more things I want to share with you. Okay? Senator Bernie Sanders has been in the Senate since the days of Jesus Christ. Well, probably not that many years. But Senator Bernie Sanders has been a senator for more years than I want to think about. Senator Sanders is saying Democrats are dumb. Senator Bernie Sanders are saying Democrats are dumb because they can't figure out why they are abandoning the middle-class worker and why that would lead the middle-class people here in America to abandon them. Isn't that interesting? Senator Sanders is wondering why the Democrats are so dumb because they can't figure out why that abandoning the middle-class workers would lead the middle-class people of America to abandon the Democrats. Isn't that wild? The Democrats can't get used to the idea that they left us in the dust. And the conservatives came back. And the conservatives take back the country. Unreal. Now, I have some information from General Flynn. General Flynn says he is going to advise Trump to remove as many permanent working class people in Washington, D.C. He's going to advise Trump to remove as many permanent working people in D.C., out of the federal government. President Trump said he was going to reduce the size of the government. Elon Musk said the same thing. And President Trump has hired Elon Musk to do that, to help lower the size of government and help lower the spending of federal government workers. General Flynn is going to help Trump remove permanent workers in the federal government in D.C. Unreal, guys. Unreal. President Trump is already trying to help us. Now, Flynn is also going to recommend that those fired people lose all of their security clearances so that they cannot use a security clearance to betray the country, as has happened before with some of the former federal players in the government. Yes, we have had federal workers in the government that have betrayed this country. And only one or two of those former federal workers are in prison for doing it. Betrayal is treason. Treason is punishable by life in prison or something worse that we're not even going to talk about. But they would lose their security clearances to prevent them from betraying the country for using their security clearances. General Flynn also got word of a leaked plan against Trump. General Flynn got word of a leaked plan against Trump, should he have lost. It is being said that if he had lost the election on Tuesday, that the Democrats had already had a 168-page report that was what they call a superseding indictment against President Trump. Jack Smith, the prosecutor that was fired yesterday, Jack Smith was going to walk those documents into court and file against a bunch of people from Trump's people and file more charges against President Trump and take 2 or 3 years to get a rigged jury here in D.C. and send President Trump to a federal penitentiary for 20 years. Unreal. That is what the Democrat National Committee and the Communist Party want to do with President Trump and other Trump advisors. Fauci should also be in jail, D. McKenna says, I agree. Fauci should be in federal prison for the rest of his life for what he and Biden concocted. And I'm sure Biden and Obama were responsible for what happened 3 years ago. Biden, Fauci, and Obama. Incredible. Happy birthday to Carol. Love you, sweetheart. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about so far tonight? Does anybody have any questions? I know I've talked about a lot of stuff, but I wanted to make sure we got the word out to all of you what was going on and what has happened. Okay? It's important that everybody understands what's happening. Yeah, Carol's telling me about my birthday going before hers. Just 2 days before hers. But honestly, I would rather celebrate Carol's birthday than mine. Not that I'm older than her, but I would rather celebrate hers than mine. Carol is a wonderful lady, a wonderful mother, and a wonderful wife. Love her very much. Does anybody have any questions for me? Again, I'm going to ask you to check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed to this channel, because YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. Don Patoka says, when does the White House cleaning start? It starts January 20th. And there may be cleansing in the White House going on as we speak, because the Democrats that are already in the White House are scared of President Trump. I think we're going to see a lot of people leaving the White House employment and heading elsewhere. Linda Covington, you're a riot. Double the trouble, double the fun. Yes, that's what Carol and I think we've done. Doubling the trouble and doubling the fun. Thanks for that. Appreciate you. That's cool. Anybody have any questions? Check your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed to this program. Before you leave here tonight, give us a thumbs up if you appreciate what we've given you tonight. We spent a great deal of time putting this program together so you'd have the information you have. Tinny Pearl just gave us a $100 super chat, and she's saying no questions right now, but I'm hoping 2025 we'll have more time for some solar weather information as well. I promise you that. I promise you we'll have some more solar information. By the way, speaking of solar information, we had another X-class flare the other day. That plasma radiation from that X-class flare will be hitting Earth within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? That's going to give us more earthquakes. That's going to give us more things that happen to our bodies, happen to our animals, and happen to the plant lives. It's already destroyed some satellites. The X-class flare that was launched from the sun the other day has already destroyed satellites in our Earth orbit. Unreal. Folks, tonight at 10:30 p.m., Wages World will be on the air about 10:30 p.m. tonight. Look for him sometime after 10:30 p.m. He's hoping to be on the air then. I'm hoping to join him and all of you on his program after he comes on the air. Now, Mark Wages is a dear friend of mine. I love he and his family very much. They're good people. I love his people in his chat family, and all of you. If you have not already made it to Wages World, please join us over there and give his channel some love. Subscribe to his channel. Mark Wages is a solar expert. Mark Wages is a solar expert. Demon Catman is asking what is happening in Amsterdam. I have no idea. I have no idea. DCM, have you heard anything about what's going on in Amsterdam? I will look it up and I'll try to give you information tomorrow night. I promise you that. I'll look it up. Now, folks, we will be back here tonight if anything else happens. If anything else happens here tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll be back here on the channel to give you the information as soon as it comes out. Okay, I promise you that. We always do that. Okay? Otherwise, we'll be back here sometime after 6, between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Friday. We will have information what's going on in our country, what's going on around the world. We'll also talk about emergency preparedness. Fridays are Emergency Preparedness Fridays. We hope to see you tomorrow night. Before I leave you tonight, I want to go over the first epistle of John in the New Testament. I want to go over to, let's start over in verse 3. This wonderful epistle of John, it's beautiful, okay? It really is. That which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that ye also might have fellowship with us. And truly our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ. And these things write we unto you, that your joy may be full. This then is a message which we have heard of him, and declare unto you that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie, and we do not know the truth. We cannot walk in the light if we are walking in the darkness. Jesus Christ and God do not work in the dark. But in verse 7, But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. But if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. If we say that we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. God and Jesus Christ are the light. Jesus Christ is the light of the world, the only begotten Son of God. I declare that unto you now. Folks, right now, we are going into my favorite holidays. Glenn Beck taught me a long time ago, and I adopted this years and years ago. Today we are walking right into the trinity of holidays: Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Why do I say that? Thanksgiving is a celebration of all things family. Family. We can't go on into eternity unless we go into eternity as a family. We cannot go into eternity unless we go as a family. We are sons and daughters of God. Let us celebrate our families together here on this earth. We love each other. Second, Christmas, the second celebration of the Trinity of holidays. One of my favorite holidays of all. We celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. A time of celebration, a time of giving, a time of love, a time to sit and look at where we've been, and to make sure we fellowship again with our families and celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, our Savior and King. The third is New Year's. Why do I include New Year's in the Trinity of holidays? New Year's is a time to think about where we've been and to make plans for the new coming year, to make plans to help us reorganize our lives. A plan so we, all of us together, can find out where we're at and move forward to continue to worship Christ and prepare for our life in eternity. New Year's is a time for planning, a renewed time to forgive and forget, and to move forward in glory and joy. Glory in the worship of Jesus Christ, and joy to be together as a family, celebrating together. Think about what I've just said. We'll be talking about this more as we move closer into Thanksgiving. May God bless you. May God bless you and your families. May He be with you this day and always. God bless you. God take care of you. May God continue to love you and you love God. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side, everyone. Have a good night. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everyone. Much love.